Hey, how's everyone feeling? Test. Hold on. Let me make sure the audio is correct. Audio is correct. Yeah, how's everyone feeling tonight? Hope everyone's doing good. Saturday night. Appreciate it for anyone who could spend their Saturday night with me. We're gonna be bringing up in the coming weeks. It's been pretty heavy on myself lately, but I've had a lot to talk about. But we are going to start rotating everyone else in more regularly. People's schedules are freeing up, and I am getting through a lot of the stuff that I want to talk about by myself. So I look forward to just more nights of shooting the crap with everybody. Talking about different things. Definitely want to have more sports nights, but tonight I wanted to talk about this tendency of all lives mattering, black people, black protests. We have a lot of good episodes coming up, by the way. So if you haven't signed up for the podcast, definitely check it out. The difference between the podcast and the live streams that we have a lot of guests. And we talk more about more big idea stuff. The live stream is more topical, current affairs, current events, and it's about people and events, whereas the podcast is more about ideas. So definitely check it out. Who's here right now? Hey, Day, how's it going? Hey, I sound info. How you feeling? Corn pops, chaotic goods. Um, yeah, and this is going to be another short one. We have a long one planned where we're going to have a guest and we're going to talk about Amanda Gorman and her current rise in more depth, and also we're going to talk to Amanda Yee again and talk about more stuff with China and the media coverage, especially in light of this uh, stuff that's been going on with the whole GameStop thing and the anti-China, anti-Russia propaganda has started again. I'd love to have someone come on and talk about the Russia propaganda too, because I find that really funny. Those right now are just all in on China and Russia, and it's really weird all the horseshoe theory that you see these days. Um, Real quick, let's talk about a comment that I got the other day. It was an interesting comment. Um, we're gonna do the house cleaning real quick, but give us a second. Yeah, well, I hope everyone's night's going good. I have no idea why I'm so out of breath right now. For like no good reason. In the comment right now. Give me a second. Okay, here we go. I found it. Let me just pull it up. Oh, the person looks like they deleted the comment. It's gone. Okay, forget it. I was gonna respond to a comment by somebody, but it's gone. Hey, B Scott, how's it going? The same playbook for everything here. Hey, Jan, how you feeling? Hey, chaotic goods. Oh, Dee, sorry about that. I'm turning it today, Day. Hey, Dee, how you feeling? Hey, JG, how you feeling? Oh my God, yes. Oh man. Whew. This Wendy Williams special is a beast. It's a beast, man. It's a beast. My wife is in the other room watching it. This lady, first off, she has way too many curves. She does not look like Wendy Williams. Because Wendy Williams is like top heavy, and then her body just goes like that. And this lady's got like, this kind of hourglass body. She doesn't have that how you doing accent that Wendy Williams has. She is not with it at all. Hey, Revolution, how's it going? Yeah, it's a biopic on Wendy Williams, and the acting, and it's so after school special. Like, I'm convinced it has to be camp. There's no way it can't be bad on purpose. There's no way. There's a scene where, well, first I would try to make her seem like Howard Stern, where she was just so edgy that the producers couldn't handle her. So they're like, Wendy, you can't talk about that. That's just too much. You're just, and the producers like spazzing out. The producers coming into Like Wendy Williams is talking about her plastic surgery, and the producers coming like, "Oh, Wendy, you can't talk about that. You're suspended." It's like, come on. Like, Wendy Williams is not any type of speak truth to power type. It's come on, give me a break. Nobody gave a damn. We're like a Hot 97, 105. Like, and then the white producer come in, like, she's just too raw for radio. Wendy Williams. It's like, come on. Please. Yeah, capital Peabody. Yeah. Yeah, man. I was like, are you serious? You know something with the Wendy Williams thing. A lot of people don't know this. She's the one involved in all those other biopics, at least a lot of them. So she was involved in the Lifetime thing about Aaliyah. She executive produced that or something, and she did Aaliyah kind of dirty in that. And I guess this is a chance for her to turn about. Like, I just thought she had some kind of beef with Aaliyah or something. I don't know. To produce such a bad quality special. But then when I saw she did herself in this one, and I think she's behind this, I just realized, okay, that's just the best she can do. It has nothing to do about a grudge against anybody or anything. That's just really the best kind of movie she can do. Like that. That's her. She wasn't phoning it in on Aaliyah doing a hit job. That was just the best that's in her. Like that. I couldn't believe it. That was. I didn't watch much of it. I don't think I'm going to, because I've been doing this kind of content detox where I'm trying to just detox from content, like watch less of it. And unless it's something I'm directly reviewing for the podcast, so when I went to the room and I saw it, like, my first instinct was, oh, this is really bad. I just got to watch this and laugh at it. I'm like, you know what? That's what they want. Like, they know this is not good. Like, they want this to be like Sharknado. Like, there's no way in hell this woman could think that this thing is good in any shape or form. This is meant to be like Rocky Horror. This is some more like um campy. You go on the internet and clown it for the whole night. That's basically what they want for this. They want you to go online and tweet and clown about it the whole night. The other people gonna want to watch it to be like, is it really as bad as they say? And the only thing I could possibly believe with that, because I just refuse to believe anybody did that thing and thought that they were doing good work. It's impossible. There's no way on God's green earth that grown adults can think that they were doing something good. They were doing something good there. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, she's behind the Aaliyah one. It seemed like that was the only one she was behind, and that one was comically bad. And this one is like that. The only scene I saw was there was two scenes I saw. They were back to back. One where she's talking about her plastic surgery on the air, and the producer comes in, and the radio producer, "You're suspended for 2 weeks. That's just crazy. You can't talk about plastic surgery. Oh no, it's just too hot for TV." It's like, going all nuts and losing it and spazzing out, and they just, like, on the spot, she suspends her for 2 weeks. First off, I don't think that even happens like that. You could just suspend somebody on the spot. You got to run it past your higher ups. She was getting crazy ratings at this time. There's no way that somebody can single-handedly suspend her for 2 weeks like that. Um, yeah, and then so she just gets suspended. She's like, I can't believe it suspended me. And she walks outside, and then when she's outside, the singing group Total, I put singing in air quotes because it's hard to call what Total did singing, but Total is outside, and they're waiting for her, waiting to bust her ass, and they're just basically like three extras, right? That they dressed as obviously like Total, so you couldn't, because if somebody talks, you have to put extra movie. So and I think they got like a SAG card or something. So they had to kind of stretch the definition of extra. So you could tell they just put these three in there and tried to put them in as little time as possible, so they would not have to pay them anything. Like, you could tell how cheap this thing is. So these three are dressed like Total from like their most popular music video. Like, I'm sure Total didn't walk around looking like this all day, especially if they showed up to a record station to fight, a radio station. But yeah, they just clearly are very, very over the top, looking like Total, and dressed like they're in a rap video, and the actresses are just like trying to, like, act very totalish and whatever. And so Total came to the radio station to beat up Wendy Williams. These extras are there for like 5 seconds, and they're just over the top looking like Total and everything. And then Wendy Williams, like husband or boyfriend, rolls up in a Jeep like Rambo to save her from Total. So he just rolls up, right? He just pops out like Total, the most dangerous people on earth. She's hiding inside. She's hiding inside the radio station from Total, and then Total sees him, and of course they can't pay the extras or anything. Total's just like, and then they hop into the car and speed off, and then she jumps in her husband's arms for saving her from Total, and that was a scene. I was like, yeah, get the f out of here. Yeah, it was it was so funny. I like it just looked so fake. I was not. Hey, AT 400 years org, how you feeling? B Scott, Colonel Grover Gaddafi. I mean, that was all I saw. Like, oh my god, there's a 2 hour Wendy Williams documentary on her life after the biopic. Like, what's the point of that? So there's a 2 hour documentary. There's a 2 hour movie followed by a 2 hour documentary. Like she's like an actual hero or something. Like she saved Waterloo. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And that was the 5 minutes that I saw, and that was it. That was, and I know it'd be entertaining for all the wrong reasons, and I would think that I'm clowning them, but they would be clowning me because they know that it's garbage. You know, the joke would be on me for sitting through it and you know, thinking that I'm laughing at them. Like, yeah, I just refuse. I don't want to believe that anybody thought this thing is good. I just for sake of my sanity, I just want to believe that this is just content. This is a pseudo event or whatever. But you know, if I don't judge anybody that wants to see it, you know, as long as you know what you're watching, and you know, I mean, it is funny. You'll laugh, you know, but to me, to laugh at something bad, it's why I can't watch a Sharknado, because those are bad on purpose. So when I watch the Sharknadoes, I'm like, okay, I'd rather watch something that someone is trying to make good and it turned out bad. You know, then it's kind of you know, funny, but when it's designed to be bad and left at, then it feels kind of um cynical. It's not really the same. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this was their best effort. I have no idea. But it is funny. That's interesting. That would be interesting. I don't know if it's true though. At the end of the day, I'm not even sure if I even really care. I don't know, because like what would it mean? Like Tyler Perry, I kind of was excited about the idea of him owning his own stuff and his own studio and all the opportunities was going to create, but he hasn't really groomed anybody. He hasn't really groomed any new writers. He still claims to be writing all this stuff himself, and it shows. It's terrible. He should be having a whole murderer's row of you know, black writers under him, like, you know, creating some kind of movement, and he's just making money for himself. So that's kind of disappointing. He should have a whole bunch of those gospel play type writing dudes, like clones of himself. He should be creating some kind of legacy. Just a whole bunch of church dudes with weird hangups writing morality plays where everyone's getting AIDS. He should be having like 6 dudes like that under him, all just giving characters AIDS left and right, you know, for straying from God. Like, you know, he's not doing that. He's just churning out all this stuff, and either he has ghostwriters that he's not crediting, or he's really doing all this stuff himself. And either way, I don't think he's really kind of sowing the earth to create a next generation of, you know, black Hollywood or something. Yeah, no longevity in mind, legacy, just living in the now. And yeah, I'm sure he's given like a lot of people jobs, you know, on the compound or something. But it'd be nice to see him groom like a next generation of collective uplift or talent. They're not really doing that. Like, who are his proteges? Who are his, say what you will about a lot of those Bavities and BuzzFeed types and those Wakandans, but they do one thing I'll give them. They do put each other on all the time. Like, they may all be kind of mediocre, but they do put each other on. I'll give them that. They're very good at that. this mutual aid, this mutual appreciation society. Yeah, invest in, uh, invest in AI. Yeah, you could make his stuff by AI. It's like plug in Vice. So you get heroin, unprotected sex, threesomes, or whatever, cheating. Choose biblical penalty. AIDS, um, homeless, crack addiction, working the pole, AIDS. Pick pick job for blue collar guy, plumber, uh, food caterer business, in school, public defender, lawyer. Just pick all this stuff. Pick job for the guy that tempts the woman from God, and leads to her getting AIDS. So the guys like nightclub promoter, sports agent manager, you know, choose shade, high yellow for the villain, so forth, so forth. Yeah, just plug it all in. Yeah, evil dark skinned bald man. Yeah, well, he is the evil dark skinned guy with waves too. I have to give him, like, let's not make him sound too limited. He's got a high variety of what he can do, and he does do dark skinned guy with waves. I've seen him do that. Yeah, so I mean, it's funny. Oh, wait, do I have it wrong? No, he does it both ways. In one movie with the marriage counselor, the good guy was a dark skinned guy, but most of the time, I think the good guy is usually a light skinned guy. Yeah, he changes it sometimes. He does changes. He does changes sometimes. Mm. This is really true. It looks like those weird YouTube videos where Spider-Man assaults Elsa and they die with Baby Shark. Are you talking about the Wendy Williams thing still? Because yeah, I do agree with you. It does look like that. It's crazy. Hey Thomas B, how's it going? Yeah, man, but that's really annoying to me. Looking at what Tyler Perry did, I didn't think he was doing good stuff, but at least I thought he was going to create like a sustainable empire of doing it, and he's just not really putting anybody on. He's not choosing talent. He should be going, because there's a lot of other Tyler Perrys out there in that gospel play circuit. And some of the people say are better than Tyler Perry and stuff, and they get a lot of shine. Should be helping them get on movie deals and TV. Like, you should be treating that like the minors and plucking people up, like when those black comics used to make it and try to put on like a bunch of other people to come on. Like Robert Townsend and Eddie Murphy, they used to do that all the time. They help put Keenan Ivory on, and Keenan Ivory put on like his whole damn family, like generations of his family into it, like qualified or not. That really let me down with Tyler Perry, that he didn't do that, and he was bragging about being the only person. Yeah, new play. My mama Mama shot my man in the foot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mama, I don't want to be a rodeo clown. Whatever the latest thing is, just whatever. This I thought was a good fable. I talked about the Killmonger Gambit a while ago, and I was talking about how a lot of what these people out there do with these black men are trash people who go into this activism and media and seem hell bent, and academia, and seem hell bent on um, doing character assassination on the straight black man. I talked about the Killmonger Gambit and how their bargaining chip for entry into a seat at the table, their bargaining chip for being accepted by the white powers, by that be the mainstream, is to demonstrate that they are willing to deliver the head or the corpse of their warrior class. Because why are they going to let you get the keys to the kingdom, even if it's as a mascot? If you're going to be ear hustling, soaking up game, and have a revolutionary spirit, they're not going to want you around. They're only going to let you in, even as a mascot, if you have proven dedication to elevating their interest over your own. And I was saying, when I asked, talking about the Black Panther movie and the Killmonger and everything, I said, what did what was the bargaining chip that Wakanda brought to the G7, the United Nations, at the end of the movie? And everyone was saying it was vibranium, it was technology, it was X, Y, and Z. And I was like, no, it was not just that. Because if it was just that, the powers that be, the Western powers that be, the white powers that be, they are not going to want to enter into a partnership with people of color that powerful, because yeah, you might work with us today, but how do we know you're not eventually going to turn on us? We'd rather just kill you and take the stuff, like why? And I said what they actually bargained with was Killmonger's corpse. They brought, like, look, this guy wanted to bring true revolution. He wanted to take you off the throne and whatever. And we so wanted to play ball with you, work with you. We killed our own leader for you, because at the time he was their king. He won it fair and square, right? So there was a good Aesop fable that I think is a good uh, that is a good example of this. And the fable goes like this: it's a better starve free than be a fat slave. It's a fable by Aesop. A gaunt wolf was almost dead with hunger when he happened to meet a house dog who was passing by. "Ah, cousin," said the dog, "I knew how it would be. Your irregular life will soon be the ruin of you. Why do you not work steadily as I do and get your food regularly given to you?" "I would have no objection," said the wolf, "if only I could get a place. If I could only get a place." "I will easily arrange that for you," said the dog. "Come with me to my master, and you shall share my work." So the wolf and the dog went towards the town together. On the way there, the wolf noticed that the hair on a certain part of the dog's neck was very much worn away. So he asked him how that had come about. "Oh, it is nothing," said the dog. "That is only the place where the collar is put on at night to keep me chained up. It chafes a bit, but one gets used to it." "Is that all?" said the wolf. "Then goodbye to you, master dog." And the moral of the story is, better starve free than be a fat slave. And what the Wakandans want to be is a fat mascot. You know what I mean? In that movie, or a fat partner, but they, you know, or a fat junior partner in the relationship. But um, Killmonger would rather starve free. Like, you can't bring wolves into the house. You know, it's hard to bring a wolf into the house. It's not going to happen. Wolves would rather starve free. So it's like the dog sometimes has to, if you can't bring the wolf in and show that the wolf is tamed, then the dog has to bring the wolf's corpse if it has to. So I feel like fable really touches on the Killmonger Gambit, and what it's about. That's what they have to yeah. So I don't know what this is talking about. You talking about the chat? How is it wilding? Am I missing something? There's not trolls in here, are there? Hey, thanks, AT 400 years, or appreciate that. Yeah, man, the YouTube streets. Hey, Rock the Mic, how you feeling? From Trap House to Pulpit. Yeah, Tyler Perry's new play. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wish Tyler Perry would just put other people on. You know what I mean? But he never does. So that kind of turn. Remember in Roots how Fiddler would get pissed off at Kunta for risking his position as a musician within the big house. Kunta knew freedom while Fiddler was born to slavery and found comfort. Yeah, it's yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, for people who didn't see, look at the video, Killmonger Gambit. But yeah, the Wakandans in that story, or Black Panther in that story, are um to a degree the dog, but they're dogs masquerading as wolves, because there's a big show about how independent they are, but when the push comes to shove, a lot of it's masking fear. And it kind of shows they're afraid to be seen. Then when they do get willing to be seen, they kill the warrior class first before they do it, to so a lot of that is kind of play acting. A lot of what they're doing is pageantry, but it's a fake pageantry because it's a pageantry that requires hiding, and it's kind of like E. Franklin Frazier talked about it in the Black Bourgeoisie, where he talks about how the Black bourgeoisie is kind of humble and hat in hand when they're in front of like white people with money, or they're white bosses, or white people of authority, but they make their own little black fraternities and sororities, black um high societies, black debutante societies, Jack and Jill and all that stuff, and they kind of strut and show out for each other, and give each other awards, and it's like an imitation society of white society, but they don't really have any power to exert any real leverage on white society except to be an imitative force or apply for acceptance or a seat at the table. Yeah, it's just kind of a costume drama or a type of cosplay that they do, and that's why Wakanda is not really about Africans any more than Crazy Rich Asians is really about China. Like Crazy Rich Asians is a fantasy for Asian Americans. Wakanda is a fantasy for blue checks. That's why blue checks really love it. It's not really about Africa at all. It's about white acceptance because like I've said before, uh blue used to hate tips and um their Africa cosplay, their back to Africa stuff and all this stuff. But when Black Panther came out, those same Blavity BuzzFeed blacks and whatever, they couldn't wait to dress up like Africans because the Wakandans aren't really Africans. They're a proxy for the untalented tenth, or what they feel like they want white people to see them as. It is what it is. What else? Oh yeah. Oh, nothing bad. Okay, good. Yeah, I just want to make sure that they weren't. I just want to make sure that there weren't trolls in here. Yeah, yeah. Oh, the chat's always popping. I love my people in the chat. Oh, I forgot to give the usual spiel, but yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe. It's the best thing you can do if you're not able to help donate and help the show in that way. And I want to thank everybody who's been helping us out by helping us get equipment for the Amazon wish list. Uh, we're going to be distributing that stuff around the hosts who are going to be joining us more often soon. Everybody's schedule is clearing up, so for people wondering where the co-hosts are, everyone's going to be hopping on more often. But yeah, we have an Amazon wish list. It's in the description if you want to check it out, or you can go to champagnesharks.com and it's linked to there. But yeah, so it's books related to guests that we want to invite on because we have to do a lot of reading to keep up with all these guests and their books and everything, and also equipment like cameras and mics and stuff like that. Anybody who wants to help us in that way, patreon.com/champagne sharks. Subscribe there. You get access to voice and chat Discord server, access to the book and movie nights, either to participate or just to listen to them, double the episodes every week, and also over 200 at this point past episodes open up, unlock immediately. Hit the super chat if you're enjoying the stream. Some people have done it already today. Just hit the dollar sign, the chat section, and we'll put your comment on the screen as well if you donate, or you can do a super sticker. Um, and PayPal us at champagnesharks@gmail.com. Send us a PayPal contribution there, or you can give us a contribution or thanks at Venmo or Cash App at Champagne Sharks. And all this stuff is scrolling at the bottom, so you can see it there if you want. Yeah, so those are all the options. And Let's see. Oh, oh, is that the Asian girl with the stupid photo exhibit? The whole decolonize my desire thing. Is that one? Yeah, media engagement solutions. Yeah, yeah. The wish list is out there. Oh yeah, there's a lot of. This is true. There's so much drama in Clubhouse. I have trouble when I go on there now. I just look for goofy rooms. I was in this room last night. It was called uh, "Spicy Latinas for You," and it's not what it sounds like. It was a comedy room where this whole bunch of uh, Latinas had this speaker section. It was funny as hell, and they invited guys to come on one by one and do a Shark Tank pitch uh, for you know why they were good in the bedroom and why they should get a chance. And then they voted on each guy's pitch for himself, like it was Shark Tank. And they said, I'll invest 50%. I'll invest 50%. Someone's like, I'm out. And it was like hilarious. And the audience was full of people. And I was shockingly, none of those people were professional comedians, but it was hilarious. That was the best fun I had in Clubhouse for a while, just sitting in the audience, laughing at that. But other than that, it's just black people fighting nonstop. I can't take it. Yeah. This is the digital version of my conspicuously putting tithe on the collection plate. Yeah, for sure, man. It's appreciated. Definitely. I'm gonna start preaching prosperity gospel. But yeah, Fatima, I'd love to know. Fatima, I'm sorry, I believe your name is Fatima. I think I said Fatima incorrectly. Sorry. Fatima, I'd love to hear your, or if the second pronunciation is wrong, please tell me. But yeah, um, Fatima, I'd like to know your experiences of what rooms you've been seeing because I've been getting tired of it myself. There's no need that you have to have the same room 12 hours a day every day. Like, for example, all the time there's are biracial people really black, and then they will talk about it all day long, every day. And it's like, okay, at some point, make a decision. They're black or they're not, and then go with it. Why do you have to litigate this thing 12 hours a day? It's really annoying. Um what else is of interest that I wanna so I found some various tweets that I found very interesting. This is someone who I actually want to have on the show. He has a YouTube channel. For some reason I'm drawing a blank on what the YouTube channel is called. Oh yeah, he's a co-host of Reset Race podcast, but he's a creator of a YouTube channel called Bitter Dose TV, and I've been liking some of his stuff. He's been saying some stuff with ADOS and stuff, but he made this good tweet where he said, um, somebody said, why do wait, people who just discovered the blackness in their 20s, someone said this, people who just discovered the blackness in their 20s and are those who were raised by anti-black American parents, why do you feel the need to take on leadership roles in black liberation spaces? That's what this person, Sharv Commune, said. And then of Lineage is his name. That's the person who does Bitter Dose TV. If you want to check them out on YouTube, they said they think they're better than other black people. And then I tweeted something, but I think I deleted it, so my tweet is gone. But then he responded, the reason the newfound black rejected the blackness for 20 years is because they saw themselves as better. But when they realize white people see blackness regardless, the corporate world wakes up most. Then they think they are the only ones qualified to lead. Like they get demoted to the Negro wake up call, but that same superiority that had them thinking that they were better than other black people to the point that they didn't need to be around them. When they do decide to be around them, that same superiority complex makes them expect to jump to the top of the line or um, leadership positions. And I really like that exchange there. How about my contribution was to that? Because I deleted a lot of my tweets. I just want to be on Twitter less, and I just Something else I found funny, that this was an amazing tweet that I saw. Actually, I'm looking at the comments now because you guys are always doing good comments. So I want to make sure I don't. Oh, so my first pronunciation was correct. Okay, great. So I know now. Great. So my first pronunciation was Fatima, right? So I will keep doing that. And what else is going on in the comments? Too many people lurking online with no relationship to black people in real life leads to a lot of dumb convo that sounds like something clueless whites would think of. Very true, and that ties into what I'm about to say right now. Check out this thing that I saw. This was so typical. And she was joking, but she wasn't. She got pissed when people called her how ridiculous she was. Somebody tweeted this, right? This took me. So somebody tweeted something about, I guess, having had growing up with white friends, but went to college and getting black friends. The original tweet is not here, but somebody responded to it like, how do I get out the sunken place? So this is somebody who is black, who saw this girl go from having nothing but white friends to having black friends, and she was like, how do I get out of the sunken place? Like, I want to, be like you, which I found was an interesting question. And then somebody responded, watch season one of Community, then watch season one of Atlanta on FX, and take notes on Donald Glover's switch up. Follow black owned accounts. Listen to Maya's debut album. Binge watch Insecure, Moesha, and A Different World. Write/recite Black POS. I don't know why positive affirmation. I thought she was a piece of shit. I was like, that's weird. Oh no, positive affirmation. Read Nikki Giovanni. So this is this person's prescription for getting out of the sunken place, which is scary. And then someone put this face like, what the f? And a lot of us thought, okay, that must be a joke, but she got really pissed when people kept clowning her, and then eventually, I think she even blocked, started blocking people or going protected, and I couldn't believe I actually saw that. I was like, they really do think blackness is that. A lot of these people. So everyone was like, "What in the Blavity BuzzFeed is that?" Yeah, yeah. So some people here actually saw that. Remember this, hilarious. Yeah, and it was not a joke. She got really pissed and defensive, and she kept doubling down like crazy. But I was kind of glad she said it out loud because I feel like a lot of people wouldn't admit that. Like, she lacked enough self-awareness that she was willing to say the quiet part out loud. That was very, very fascinating. Like, first off, the idea that you can just do that you can just learn blackness like that was a scary thing. But on top of that, the prescription was horrible. Like, even if you wanted to try to fake blackness like that, that was she was still clueless to even pick the right ways to do it. So that was very, very interesting. Um, but yeah, a lot of people really think you can just do that. But anyway, to finish up, I'm saying to finish up, as in this is the last topic, but it's also the longest topic, so it's really not going to be like um any minute now. But let's see what we can do with this. Whew. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up real quick. I want to say something real quick. I always kind of make fun of these types for a lot of the stuff that they do as far as politicking to get jobs and all that in a way that's so transparent, or all the games they'll play. But I'm gonna say something nice. Be fair, because fair is fair. I tried Eve Ewing's Marvel comic. Someone gave me Marvel comic to try, and I tried Eve Ewing's Marvel comics writing, and I gotta say, I don't really like all the silly games that she played to get the job. I did it in one of our earlier you know, Ustreams. YouTubes, but she's not a bad writer. It was not badly written. Some of the stuff was a little cringe, like some of the blackety black signaling that was put in there. Like it did have a sense of this was co-written by Twitter type of thing to it, but the characterization, the writing, it actually wasn't bad. It was called Ironheart. Um I read a couple of issues of it, and I have to say she is not a terrible writer. I would read more from her. And I just wanted to say that because I thought it would be, it's good to be fair. Yeah. Yeah, Outlaw. Well, I'll tell you one thing about Clubhouse, right? For anyone who still holds on to the classist illusion that iPhone users are better, richer, or classier, one good thing about Clubhouse, that will disabuse you of that real fast. Like some people can say, "Oh, Clubhouse is great," and it's because it has only iPhone users, and let those Android people in, man. Those Android people are not going to make any difference. It can only go up. There's, I mean, any illusions that you might have had about iPhone being some kind of signaling of class or whatever is out the window after being on Clubhouse. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like Twitter on steroids. It's horrible. Um, I've been in a handful of good rooms. One in particular was entitled "Is there a black upper class?" Um, I did see that comedy room. She's talking about that one, but I was in the R&B music room. Yeah, like things about a hobby or comedy rooms are like the best. But yeah, but a lot of it is just time wasting, and yeah, too many people are just spending like 14, 16 hours up in there. I didn't read that. Is that a new Charles Blow article? I'll check it out. I'm sure I'm gonna see it. I mean, one thing I've been doing is trying to be on Twitter less, and it's been great for my sanity. It's been great for my productivity. Um, I was cleaning out my Twitter account, and I started realizing, God, that's when you start looking at your own tweets and you realize how much time you waste arguing with strangers. I just got ashamed. I was like, damn, none of these arguments means a single thing to me today. Like, what the hell did I engage in this for? I don't know who this person is. I don't remember this argument. I know I didn't sway them. Like, what was I even doing this for? So I deleted a whole bunch of my tweets except for like 2,000, you know. And then I just go on like a maximum of like 5 tweets a day, if that. And but the downside of that is a lot of news and stuff that I used to find, or the article of the day, or what everyone's talking about. That's the one downside. It was good for finding yeah, for whose minds will never change. Like what's the point? Yeah, I was doing it for dopamine. Totally. And that's like part of the content. It's like a dopamine detox. Like the same way I stopped watching a lot of content, I stopped doing a lot of that. Like, it's not really a content detox. So I was trying to do like a dopamine detox, I guess you can call it. Yeah. Oh, so a lot of y'all read this Blow article. Yeah, I'll check it out if you think it's worth it. But if it's just like to clown, I don't really know. I'll see. I'll check it out. I'll check it out. I mean, it takes 5 minutes to watch. If you guys think it's worth talking about, if it's bad in an instructive way, I'll also check it out as well. But yeah, I want to talk about the all lives mattering of black protests, and just how annoying it could be. It's really. But yeah, people now always say all black lives matter, and it's just a way to all lives matter, the black discourse, right? But I'm gonna give some examples. Let's see. Give me a second. I'll pull it up real quick. All this quarantine and COVID stuff is over. Do y'all think you're ever gonna go back to a regular social life? Like, I wonder, because like for myself, for example, I've always been the kind of person that used to go out and hang out a lot and stuff on the weekends and stuff. And I feel like I think a lot of people think when they're able to go out again, they're gonna be going out like crazy. But I don't think I will, man. I think I'm gonna become pretty lazy. I think I'm gonna stay on Saturdays a lot going forward. Yeah, so I'm gonna give this one example right here. Oh yeah, there's a book out actually called All Black Lives Matter. You know, and what this basically is trying to make sure that straight black men don't get too much attention, even for things that disproportionately affect them, like police violence. So there was this thing. The Griot did Do All Black Lives Matter. Um, Check out Professor and author Mark Lamont Hill as he gives his take on vicious attack on a black trans woman, and saying that we can't say Black Lives Matter without all Black lives mattering. But the black trans person didn't get beat up because they were trans. From my understanding with the Dior thing, for what I understand, she was backing out of a gas station. I think tried to hit a car and tried to leave, or something happened, and it led to this whole thing. She should not have been beaten up. It's not acceptable. It's not okay. But it wasn't like people were saying, "Hey, that's a trans person. Let's beat him up." And the thing is, if black dudes get beat up all the time, so like what you're kind of saying is an example of what about black on black crime? You know, if a conservative said, "Hey, you're saying that Black Lives Matter, but what about Chicago where black dudes get shot?" Or, what about, um, you know, all the black men that get killed? Because black men get killed like crazy by other black men, despite, all this protest and Black Lives Matter stuff. So why would you think it's okay to take something even more rare, which is, the abuse against black trans people, which happens far more rarely than the black male on black male death, and use that to what about black on black crime, protests, which is they're doing the same thing, and that's not to excuse what happened. That's not to say that black trans people have it easy or anything. But I'm saying is you're doing the same thing that you don't like when white conservatives do to you. It's the same disingenuousness, it's the same bad faith argument that you can't protest black police brutality against black people if I can point to a black on black crime that you did. Like, and making the victim black trans doesn't make it any better an argument tactic or any less bad faith than if it was a black male on black male crime being used. If anything, to be honest, the black male on black male crime is actually a better discrediting of the Black Lives Matter movement, because a lot of times the specific thing that they're protesting is the death of a black male. So if you can show that, hey, black male life doesn't matter, then I can really discredit you by showing that you yourself don't value black male death. So that's actually even better bad faith argument, but you don't accept that. You realize it's bad faith. So why would you think this somehow is magically makes it okay? But that's what they do. It's all what about black on black crime at the end of the day. It's the same thing. And this is a video. Tell me if this sound.
It can't always be a black cisgender male as the spokesman or as the poster person for it. No, sometimes we got to march and mobilize and have celebrity telethons and commercials and TV shows and GoFundMe's.
I don't understand. That's the very beginning. That's how it starts, and it's weird. It feels like it starts in the middle of something. I don't know.
For Black trans women. I've been looking on the internet and I saw something that is so disgusting. On Monday, June 1st, Iyanna Dior, a Black trans woman, was involved in a fender bender in Minnesota. When she gets out of the car, she is assaulted. She is beaten mercilessly, not by one, not by two, but between 15 and...
Now, to give credit, he did say that he did at least admit that it was a fender bender, because a lot of people left that out in the thing. They just kind of made it seem like they were just like, hey, there's a trans person, let's go get him, right? But I mean, to tell the truth, I mean, in the hood, this could have easily happened to anybody who did a fender bender and tried to peel out. It's unfortunate, but it does.
30 people.
It does happen.
Were cisgendered Black men. They beat her. They hurled slurs at her. They chased her into a store where she tried to get some level of refuge or protection from the mob. Now, transphobic violence is always disgusting. It's always something that is unacceptable. It's always something that we need to be committed to embracing. There's something particularly disturbing about the fact that this beating happened in Minnesota on Monday, June 1st.
Now, let me ask you something. If that happened to a Black dude, a bunch of Black dudes jumped a Black dude, do you think he'd be doing this video? I don't think he would. Because I think there's a certain degree in which the same cheapness of straight Black male life that would cause a lot of people to jump another Black dude, which is not an uncommon thing in the hood, would be the same understood cheapness of straight Black male life that would not make it worth, a Mark Lamont Hill calling it out. That would just be Monday, if a Black dude got jumped by a bunch of other Black dudes for a fender bender in a gas station. So, it's like there is a problem going on with, and it has been a problem with Black on Black crime. But like I said when I gave that Kwame Ture clip a couple of weeks ago about all this stuff happens, but at the end of the day, it happens because it's by design. We're put in the worst of conditions and taught to hate ourselves and each other. And at the end of the day, white supremacy, anti-Blackness is to blame. And I gave those speeches from Martin Luther King when I had that Martin Luther King Day episode where he said the same thing. So it's like, better. At the end of the day, you know better. How to talk about Ludacris got his car stolen? Was he transgendered that day? Yeah, I mean it's and none of this is to excuse, because people always doing bad faith. They think, oh, it's okay for that to happen. No, of course not. It's not okay for that to happen at all. But at the same time, we have to stop these kind of bad faith arguments. And do all Black lives matter? And it's like you take protest for something that happened in Minnesota, George Floyd, and your all lives mattering it. Just putting a Black in there doesn't change that your all lives mattering it. You're trying to always take the focus and put it on something else. That's like when a white conservative says, here's a white person that got beat by the cops, or here's someone, here's a Black store that got the store looted. Do all Black lives matter? Do all lives matter? It's the same thing. During these protests, this happened as well. Billy Porter keeps coming out during protests and bringing up irrelevant stuff. So this is in June. I'm putting the date because this is, at the peak of the new protests and the George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and the Ahmaud Arbery protests. And in June 2020, at the peak of this stuff, when everything was lighting up and going off, Billy Porter comes out to call out the Black community's treatment of LGBTQ's community. It's similar to white supremacists. And he says this.
Hear me, because y'all ain't gonna like this one. As a Black queer man in America, My basic human rights have been up for legislation every single day that I have had breath in my body from all sides. And by that, I mean that the Black community's relationship with the LGBTQ plus community is appalling at best and eerily similar to that of white supremacists versus Black folk. Hear me, Black people, and hear me well. I'm calling y'all out right here and right now. You cannot expect our demands of equality to be met with any real legislative policy and change when y'all turn around and inflict the same kind of hate and oppression on us.
First off, the idea is the same kind. First off, that so minimizes what white people have done and continue to do to Black people. Like the sheer amount of things that white people have done to Black people, to say that Black people have the power, the time, the ability, and hatred to do that amount of damage. And I'm not saying that has to be all or nothing, like that you have to pretend that Black people have been total angels in terms of homophobia or how they treat queer people, or that they have to be as bad. Like there's no nuance anymore. It's either you're an angel or you are as bad as white supremacists. And it's so stupid. Like you can critique whatever you want about how you think the Black community has treated Black queer people. All right, make a case for it, but you don't have to, because what you're doing, but when you do that, is you're letting white people off the hook, and that's what you're doing it for. This is a service you're doing for white people. You know, this kind of lets them know, yeah, everyone is equally has dirty hands here. You know, you don't have to feel that bad. You know, and this is like this is him pandering to white people and let white people know that he's on their side and that he's choosing the queer community over the Black community. You know, this is his what this is the Killmonger Gambit. He's throwing, because we says Black communities, we're talking about straight Black men. He's kind of throwing them under the bus to let white people know that he's one of the good ones. When the race war comes, I'm going to be on your side. Do you remember that right wing guy that I played for you guys? He was the Black MAGA guy who was talking about how he can't wait for the slavery to come because he wants to be in charge, and you know he wants to be like cracking the whip, and he's gonna show these new young white people how to crack the whip on you niggers and stuff like that. This is the left wing version of that. You know what? People don't really see it because it's about he's using this is a woke washed version of that, but it's the same energy. Do y'all remember that clip? Do y'all remember that clip? Hopefully I could find it again. But let me see if I could find it. It was a Black guy who was at the Capitol riot, but he was a trip. Let's see if I could find it. I don't have it handy, but it just occurred to me that they're very similar. So I want to see if I could find it. Let's see if I could find it. Hold on. Didn't have it handy because it just occurred to me to use this as an example. But let's see. See if I can find this guy. I know not everybody watches every episode. I can't figure out how to find it. But let's see, where is he? Where is he? Does anyone remember this clip? Can anyone send it to me? I tried to search Twitter for the word coon, but there's like so many. I forget how many there are. There's like a million videos of different people being called that. So yeah, that doesn't narrow it down. That doesn't narrow it down at all, unfortunately. There's always a different person today being called one. Yeah, but anyway, this is the same energy. Unfortunately, I don't have it. I don't have it, the video handy anymore. Hey, Jen Kelsey, what's going on? Yeah, it's like why people created anti-sodomy laws. The British spread those laws throughout their empire. I mean, these anti-gay marriage laws. It wasn't black people who signed those into effect. But they and someone said he doesn't speak for the black LGBT community is way off mark. Yeah, it's very true because there's a lot of black LGBTQ people who don't think and talk like him, but they don't get elevated. A lot of them are fans of the show. A lot of them are people that we talk to, we have on the show. We have them on as guests sometimes, and they don't have this kind of animosity. But those people won't be allowed to be spokespeople in white media for black LGBTQ because that's not what they want. They don't want black LGBTQ that way. So yeah, so he keeps going.
The tragic reality here is that black trans, as well as gender non-conforming women and men, are being killed in the United States by cis black men to such a degree that it is nearly the worst emergency for trans women on the planet.
Now, do you see what he did there? He started with the black community, but then he specifically specified cis black men. So basically, he made it clear, and that's what I mean by the Killmonger Gambit. That's how you get in. You have to show you're willing to take out the warrior class, because why are you talking about this now of all times? You could talk about this any other time. Why do you wait until there's a bunch of people protesting, including black men on the front line? Because they like to pretend that no black men protest. That is just queer black women protesting. But if we look at the videos, it's clear there's plenty of black men on those front lines, and they're fighting on behalf of black men. This is when the Killmonger Gambit is the most valuable. This is when it's the best to step up and show that you're willing to diminish. So now by doing this, you're diminishing the right to justice. Like, hey, these people fighting for justice right now are also oppressors who are just like white supremacists. And because I'm using the gay people as a shield, it looks like I'm not just helping Empire shut down the oppressed and invalidate the oppressed claims. It looks like I'm actually fighting for a more oppressed group. And this actually looks woke. You as a white person, you can elevate me, and actually it looks like you're being extra woke. You're being actually woker than the protesters right now. And let me ask you this: when the Muslim ban was going on, right? Or when Trump was calling Mexicans rapists and all that stuff, did you see like 2 or 3 days into the Muslim ban protests, or 2 or 3 days into like the ICE cage protests and all this stuff? Do you see like 3 or 4 days in some Latinas come out and say, it's good this protest is happening. We're 3 days in, but let's talk about all the machismo in the Hispanic community and the rates of abuse that happen, or all the macho-ness. And let's talk about how Latino needs to be turned to Latinx and all this stuff. The whole time that happened, the ICE thing, I didn't see a single thing with these crazy diversions happen. When the Muslim ban stuff was happening, I didn't see a bunch of queer Muslims go on CNN or anyone who would listen with a bullhorn. So this is a perfect time at one of the worst indignities foisted on Muslim Americans. Let me talk about how homophobic Muslims are. This is my time to do it. Like, they talk about that stuff when they're not under attack. Like, they do talk about stuff like that to a degree, but what we do is we wait until we're in a crisis point, or we're just about to get stuff together, and we wait till then. We do it backwards. Like, everyone else does the infighting, they're not under attack, and then combines when and unites when they are, and has a united front when they're under attack. When we're under attack, we divide harder to kind of get white people to notice us and to do that Killmonger Gambit. It's just stupid. It's and too many people add on to it. It's really transparent to me, and I can't stand it. I can't stand any of it. Let's see. What what else? I think I accidentally closed my list. So hold on. Yeah, but like I was saying, you never see the reverse of this stuff happen. I never see all these. Yeah, I just never see like Latinas, queer Latinos, Muslim women, talking about, hey, during the Muslim ban, let's talk about all the misogyny in the Muslim community. This is the best time to do it. This does not happen. Um, let's see some more examples. So this happened. Can't find the original thing this person's responding to, probably because I got blocked by the person. But this person's responding to something. Oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah, so the original guy deleted the original tweet because he got like roasted for it. But he's a blue check. His name is Joel Leon. Um, he writes for all these places: HBO, Twitter, Nike. Or he works for all these people. I, I don't know what he does. But he has his blue check. He has 59,000 followers. And same thing. It's June 2020. It's the middle of the protests, and of course, he's deciding to call out black men. I forgot the original thing, but he got roasted for it. It was basically one of those, yeah, black men are pieces of shit, and it's time to call them out now when there's protests going on over them all around the country. This is the most important time to call them out. So someone says, so this person agreed with him, said, I saw that and I couldn't put into words what I felt true and it bothered me. Thank you for saying this. And the guy's like, we as black men really need to do better. And this person responded, because we black men never do right. I mean, it was never meant as a slight, and we out here fighting for all blacks. But once a black man is supported, this is what we get. Stop, brother. Stop black straight male hating in 2020. And I wish I could remember what the original thing he was complaining about was. But he was complaining about something that a black man did. I think it might have been some black men being at the front of the protest and he was kind of saying that they were hogging the front of the protest because attention is all that matters. It was something. And then this guy said, man, it ain't straight black male hating. The fact is, our deaths are heralded and heard. This is the crazy thing. They're making dying a privilege. Like, hey, we get attention for dying. Yeah, we get attention for dying because, like, we're so much more than deaths. Like, that's not actually a privilege. Like, these people are so warped and desperate for white attention that they think that getting attention for dying is something that we as straight black men are taken away from them. That's how much they want white people to pay attention to them. That even this is a privilege in their mind. Our deaths are heralded and heard. What does heralded and heard mean? We get no justice for them. Every single person gets acquitted. They try to even not even arrest the people until there is an outroar. They didn't want to arrest George Zimmerman until like weeks passed by and people kept complaining. They were going to let the Ahmaud Arbery people go when the civilians did it. They took forever to arrest George Floyd's murderers, and they were protecting them. Like when did you talk about, like, being a hashtag is, like, and that's because the black male life is cheap. So them dying doesn't really mean anything anyway, right? The sisters created that hashtag to highlight their trauma. So I guess he's mad about some hashtag being misused. My guess is someone might have said say his name, and then he got mad because it's supposed to be say her name. The sisters created a hashtag to highlight their trauma, their loss, and instead of joining them in solidarity, brothers decided to co-opt. If you don't see that as hate, I don't know what to say. So, And then someone said this. This is great. Same thing we're talking about. Dirty all lives matter of the black community. Never mind that black men make up a vast majority of those murdered by police. Instead of uniting, we can all replace this racist system. These agents of white supremacy are trying to distract and dissipate the energy. And yeah, I mean that's what the untalented tenth does at the end of the day. But that was just crazy how warped this logic is, heralded and heard. And when I say that black men are 95% of people, the black people kill the police, that's not hyperbole. It's like literally 95 percent. I've given the stats before. Like so to say that they're getting undue attention, if you actually look at the amount of black men the percentage of black men whose name we never hear who get killed by police brutality, it's actually underreported. Black men are actually underreported in terms of being police brutality victims versus black women. Like, but also, it doesn't really matter anyway. It's a black problem, and it doesn't need to be fought over like this. It's okay. The next example, the person looks like they might have blocked me. So moving on. Actually, I might be able to pull it up a different way. Hold on. Let's try it. If they block me or private. Nope. There it goes. I was blocked, but I was able to pull it up. Yeah, but the black women get killed by the police on an average of double digits, whereas with the black men it's over 1,000. Like, so it's double digits versus 4 digits, and that's not like exaggeration. That's literal. So of course they're going to be discussed more. So this person said, "I can't breathe. Black men living and dying in America." And this person responds, "So are black women. So are black LGBT people." Like, why would you see someone fighting for black men and that actually makes you upset? You're the one claiming that these are the divisive people. Like, you're projecting yourselves. You're the divisive people. Like, you're the one saying all black lives matter, but you're the one who doesn't think all black lives matter. If this annoys you, you know, so are black women, so are black LGBT people. This continuous erasure is further adding to their trauma. Their lives matter too. Mention them too. Speak for them too. Let's fight for them as passionately as we fight for heterosexual black men. And like, the numbers just don't add up. They just don't. They do not add up, and that's okay. You don't, like, if you really think all black lives matter and the black community needs to be united, then practice what you preach. This is your fight too. But the problem is you're the one who doesn't think, who wants to separate from black people. You're the one who wants to create this tribalism, because otherwise why would this bother you? You know, the overpraise that black women receive for always holding it down for all black people, particularly for black men during protests, is very disproportionate to reciprocated support they receive. Breonna Taylor and other black women are slowly being erased about the narrative, which is not true. People have been protesting for Breonna Taylor on the ground in Kentucky since it happened. And when you search all these people's names and Breonna Taylor, they never discussed Breonna Taylor before it was time to use her as a weapon, as a cudgel to bash straight black men. So, you know, he goes on and on about it. But what always happens is when you I'm gonna see if it happened this time. I'm sure it did. We're gonna look real quick. But I want to find something real quick. I'm sure somebody did it. Hold on. So he's going on and on about this. But if I remember correctly, I think somebody pulled up his search history, and he was had never mentioned Breonna Taylor himself until this thing, But yeah, as usual, the same all Black Lives Matter thing. A lot of people predictably support it. Unsurprising. So yeah, I mean, being covered as the face of a crime that you're 95% the face of, and even black on black crime, straight black men are like by a vast majority the victim of, it's just ridiculous. This guy, David Dennis Jr., he's another one. He said this, and again, June 13th, 2020, the peak of the George Floyd thing. He comes down and says, I wrote about 846. That's a special that Dave Chappelle did to protest police brutality. I wrote about 846 and how Dave Chappelle is the voice of a generation of straight black men, which means he captures our pain so eloquently, but that also sadly means he talks for 27 minutes about racial violence without mentioning a single black woman. So this is your big contribution. At the heat of this protest over a state-sanctioned form of violence that affects black men to the degree of 95% of all black victims, you're gonna, instead of lauding him for this, you're gonna complain that why didn't you mention a black woman while you're in it, And he just, again, it's the Killmonger Gambit. You gotta demonstrate that you're willing to take out the warrior class. No, nothing new here. And that's where all Black Lives Matter stuff comes in. More. This person protected their tweets, but yeah. So this is another person who tried to do the same thing, and to the credit, people got in their ass. This person protected their tweets. I think it was precisely because of this, people were getting mad. Now, to give an example of what I'm talking about, because people might think I'm exaggerating, there's this thread by Trevon Logan, and I'm going to actually link to it in the description. I'm going to update it, right? But he did this a thread on data. He's a professor of economics at Ohio State Association as well. He tweets about race and history and whatever. He goes, a thread on data on police homicide. According to mappingpoliceviolence.org, since 2014, 69 black women and 1,662 black men have been killed by the police. 69, 1,662. 69, 1,662. According to fatalencounters.org, since 2014, 201 black women and 2,152 black men have died in police interactions. Either number is staggering and unacceptable number of homicides at the hands of law enforcement. A black man faces a lifetime risk of death by police of 1 out of 1,000. And there is this and then he gives there's this chart there that shows how crazy it is. So yeah, if you look at it, and people in the thread gave a bunch of different examples. So if you look, when you look at numbers like that, 1,662 black men to 69 black women, the reason how silly it is to say, why are you making black men the face of this? Like, it's the level of narcissism and childishness and weird fixation on white attention as a valuable commodity that you have to be poisoning your brain to ask those questions. But also the idea of it being misrepresented. If you hear about 1 or 2 black women out of 69 killed by the police, but you hear about 4 or 5 black men out of 1,662, what's actually happening is there's a far greater percentage of black men who are actually never learned of as victims compared to black women. That it's actually black women actually end up being more overrepresented in the numbers. And the reason I hate this conversation because I don't even like to have to debunk it, because to have to debunk it forces me to engage in the same breaking down and comparison. Like I don't even like having to even delve into the amount of men versus women killed, even just to debunk this. It feels dirty even having to look into this stuff just to debunk, but they put you in this position where you have to, because if you don't challenge it, they're going to try to make you look like a white supremacist and part of the problem, and their shitty um narrative is going to predominate as far as black men being these selfish oppressors. And if you let their bad framing stand, it helps to invalidate the idea of straight black men as worthwhile victims to champion, you know? So the stakes are too high to not be forced to engage in this discourse, you know? But if it was up to me, I would love to be able to ignore it as well. Yeah, so yeah, this pop intersectionality, you're right, is ruining people's brains. It's all I mean, if this is the work, then I'm tired of people doing the work. Stop doing the work. The work is killing us. Yeah, it's all killing us, you know? Yeah, the placate system has no room for black men who are deemed a threat to whites. Yeah, that's it. That's that's a Killmonger gambit. It's monsters ball. All black men died. One incarcerated, and the other dies from a heart attack. Yeah, ends with the white woman being taken care of by the same man who killed her husband. Yeah, and created by a black man. Um, totally. And this is a great point. Who says that they're all even straight? There's a chance that there are gay men being killed by the police too. The headline doesn't need to even say that straight black men are dying. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Um, Tarana Burke had this thing. She came out and said, Me Too founder Tarana Burke explains the link between sexual violence and police brutality. And she goes to Samantha Bee to talk about that. And it's like, why does it have to, why does the topic have to be changed to that? Like, you're black. You can just go and just complain about it as a black person. Like, why do you have to turn into a Me Too issue? The same issue that the other Me Too people and you had no problem just um jettisoning when it came time to protect Joe Biden. Like, you guys didn't even believe in it that tough. You guys were able to sell it out for an old white man at the drop of a hat without even thinking twice, you know? But you bring it up as an important thing to talk about when it's time to derail from police brutality. Yeah, so a good study, if you want to look at this stuff, is this is the last thing I'm going to put up. If you want to read a good study on all this stuff and the stats, you should check out this research article by Frank Edwards, Hedwigsley, and Michael Esposito. Risk of being killed by police, use of force in the United States by race, ethnicity, age, and sex. And it's a great place to find all this stuff. But also look for Trevon Logan's link. It's very good. It's very good as well. But this is the one that says that black men face a 1 in 1,000 chance of being killed by the police over a life course, which is crazy when it's the when you include all men, it's 1 in 2,000, and when you include women, it's 1 in 33,000. So it's and the peak is between 20 to 35 years. So yeah, I mean that's basically that. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was useful. But yeah, I mean that's something we have to stop the all lives mattering of black people, and all Black Lives Matter is just that. When you hear all Black Lives Matter, that's like a signal this person is running interference for white supremacy. That's not somebody who is serious about fighting police brutality, because justice, as Neil Fuller puts it, is about making sure that the people who most need the help get the most help. And when it comes to police brutality, the people who most need the help are black men. So if you're in the fight for against police brutality, not fighting for black men to get the most help, then you're not fighting for justice, because you're not fighting for the people who most need help to get the most help. Doing something. You're doing something else. Yeah. So this was deleted, but I'm going to show something. This is the last thing I was going to show, but it was gone. Somebody created a fund, and this fund, you see all the deleted by the R. Basically, someone created a GoFundMe fund for during the protest. Again, this is in June 2020. Um, for black trans people and black trans protesters and black trans police brutality victims, right? And it's called Black Trans Lives Matter. So in the middle of the George Floyd thing and whatever, they created Black Trans Lives Matter. And there's not a ton of black trans people out there. Black people are 30% of the population. Trans people are a much smaller version of that. And then the amount of them being killed by the police is not. I mean, just to create a whole GoFundMe and a whole movement for it in the middle of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and Breonna Taylor, was weird. And this person pointed out. I guess they got called out enough. They took down all the tweets, but someone says like Black Trans Lives Matter is an official spin on Black Lives Matter, same donor, same logic, and sponsored by the Black Led Movement Fund, which funds Movement for Black Lives, works for Open Society and Tides Foundation, Women Donors Network. And we talked about this before in that thing where I broke down the Tides Foundation, Thousand Currents, and Movement for Black Lives, and then all the other white feminist, white LGBTQ, white Democrat organizations that basically have a finger in the pot, and these people just kind of end up being friends for that. So if you go to Borealis Philanthropy's website, you will see so they had all these protests. This was a big protest in New York too. They had Black Trans Lives Matter protest on the day of George Floyd thing. And when you actually look it up, the new grantees of the Black Led Movement Fund by Borealis Philanthropy, one of them is kind of small, it's hard to see, but the Black Led Movement Fund of Borealis Philanthropy is excited to announce it has awarded $915,000 in grants to 16 new grantees advancing Black liberation across this country, in addition to the Groundswells Fund's Black Trans Fund in its inaugural year. The fund grant making is guided by priorities set in alignment with the Movement for Black Lives. Organizations receiving Black Lives Movement Fund support center the leadership of Black women, girls, femmes, queer, and trans people. So let me make sure you guys can see that better, because I want you to understand that these aren't just like renegades that are doing this all Black Lives Matter stuff. There's money to be made in it, and a lot of these white nonprofit orgs and people, they will give you money if you announce it. Like, it's not just for some kind of random hate of black men. They get something out of this. There is a tangible benefit that they get out of this. And we're going to show you right now. This is too small, so I'm going to enlarge it so you can see it. And this is where we're going to end it. So, and also if you enjoy what we talk about, by all means, consider giving a donation, giving a contribution, or becoming a patron. So patreon.com/champagne sharks, Venmo or Cash App at Champagne Sharks, PayPal, champagnesharks@gmail.com. It helps stuff get reinvested into the show, so we always appreciate it. And going to show you right now. So this right here. Oops, let's try that again. Hold on. I think I accidentally closed it, so give me a second. Okay, it's open again. So if you take a look at it, this is what it says. It says, the Black-led Movement Fund at Borealis Philanthropy is excited to announce it has awarded $915,000 in grants to 16 new grantees, advancing Black liberation across the country. In addition to the Groundswell Fund's Black Trans Fund, now notice this is May 27th, before they had the Black Trans Lives Matter march in the middle of the George Floyd thing in its inaugural year. Launched in 2016, the BLMF is a donor collaborative that invests in the ecosystem of the movement for Black Lives, M4BL, by resourcing the powerful local organizations that anchor this movement infrastructure. Collectively, these organizations shape policy agendas for Black communities. So see that it's trying to shape policy agendas for Black communities going forward, create alternatives to institutions that have been harmful to Black people, and advance Black community power to build the liberatory future we all need. But who is the we here? The fund's grant making is guided by priorities set in alignment with the movement for Black lives. So they're saying that who we donated it to is in line with the priorities of movement for Black lives. This is who movement for Black lives thinks that the Black community should be prioritizing. Organizations receiving BLMF support center the leadership of Black women, girls, femmes, queers, and trans people. Now, if in police protests, it's 662 cis men versus like 69 Black women, then how does the sentence make any sense that you're centering the leadership of these people? And furthermore, groups that apply a Black, queer, and gender justice lens to their work are focused on power building in the South and Midwest and play a core role in anchoring the M4BL ecosystem. And then it has this quote, I became a donor to the Black-led Movement Fund through the Women's Donor Network, basically through the Feminist Network, right? Now, you've seen that. Okay, good night, iSound Info. We're wrapping up in a minute anyway, so if you want to stick around, you can just stick around. This is going to be the end of it soon. This is literally the last slide. So here are the groups that they gave the money to. These are the groups they gave the money to. So basically, no warrior class. It's like Killmonger's Gambit. None of those people are involved. So here's what they get the money to. The Solutions Not Punishment Collaborative, a Black trans-led based collaborative, the Transgender Variance Intersex Justice Project, developed to challenge and end human rights abuses against transgender, gender variant, intersex people. In addition to these new grants to sustain and support the ongoing work of Black-led organizing efforts, the BLMF has made 10 rapid response grants All Healers Mental Health Alliance, Black Excellence Collective, co-funded with Fund for Trans Generations and the Transforming Movement Fund, Black Lives Matter Memphis Chapter, Black Visions Collective, Black Youth Project, and some other ones. Notice the Fearless Femme, Trans United. But also, if you look at these ones that aren't explicitly femme or trans, I'm sure if you go to their individual sites, there will be a femme or trans thing to it. So it's like there's big money at stake here for doing this stuff, and it's being, a lot of these people already have a battery in their back put by these people. For example, this fund was given in May 2020, and a lot of people were speaking up in June 2020. A lot of them might have already been paid by these people, and I think that's also why we had, in the midst of this, for no clear reason, in the midst of this, New York had this Black Trans Lives Matter protest in the middle of all this. So look in June 14th. I want to show how crazy this was for people who didn't live in New York and haven't seen this. So on June 14th, a massive turnout for the Black Trans Lives Matter protest in front of the Brooklyn Museum. This is how big this thing was. I live in Brooklyn and I saw this and it was insane. And I was like, how many black trans people have died that we have to have a separate rally on this level? It was like millions almost, it looked like, that came out. And for some reason, there was a ton of white people out there for it. You know, it was crazy. Y'all have no idea how big this thing was, and everybody was covering it. Everybody was. Yeah, it was huge, and I just could not figure out. No one could tell me exactly what was happening that made this so. And it was happening all over. It was happening all over the country. They had it in various places, and I don't know. Yeah, they turned into a white party with house music. Oh, I'll give you examples of that, of how it just turned into a party, right? There's an example right now. So this is the one in Seattle. So they had one in Seattle, and the one in Seattle, same big turnout. It's also in June. Oh, this was actually in August. My bad, but this is still like, at the heat of the defund the police movement, and it's a spectacle. Check this out. So it becomes like a party. Look, all the white people there cheering the black femme, dancing. Like, what does it have to do with any type of protest? And she starts doing the walk. Black Trans Lives Matter protest in London started. This is in June. So all these people, and it's, what I want to know is, like, how many black trans people died at the hands of police, that there's disproportionate amount. Like, why was the Black Lives Matter normal police protest considered to be erasing these people to such a disproportionate level that you had to start creating side protests? Like, why was it not enough to be part of the regular Black Lives Matter protest? Why was this necessary? So yeah, I think it's a parade. It's weird, but who knows? Yeah, but I mean, that's it. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks iSound Info for hanging out, for persevering, and Yeah, so basically, I'm just saying that's a warning sign these days. When you see all Black Lives Matter, that's someone who is not for justice, because it is not the people who need the help most getting the most help. That's trying to get the most help for the people who don't need the most help in this particular context, you know? Yeah. Like, who can deny it? I mean, a lot of people can deny it. There'll be a lot of people who get mad at me for this stream. So yeah, thanks for going there. Yeah, no problem. You know, thanks. And again, you know, keep us alive. Help us out. You know, definitely support us by listening to the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. Go to Stitcher, iTunes, and whatever, because we're saying a lot of unpopular stuff, but we think it needs to be said. So when you do that, it's a lot of people don't like that. So that's where we need the help of people like you, because it's because of people like you that we're able to talk like this. And you guys have been great for us, and every year has been getting better that we've been doing this, and that's thanks to you. And the more you help us, the more freedom you give us to go to these places that other people can't or won't go. Yeah. So thank you for that. Thanks for all of you. And yeah, feel free to Venmo or Cash App us at Champagne Sharks, PayPal, champagnesharks@gmail.com. Hit us in the super chat, or just share and like this video. All that helps. And we love all of you. Be good and take care of yourselves and each other. Good night.